So I forgot to do a room tour, so I'm just going to show where we stayed at here in Nuremberg. So there's A1 hostel right there. Let's go in. This is pretty much an apartment building. There's plenty of parking out there. There was no receptionist when we got here, but that's okay. Over here is Charlie's room. It's pretty small, but it's got a refrigerator and whatnot. And our room, well, I should probably show. There's a bathroom with a sink, and then a kitchen. Pretty much your typical hostel. This is room 204. This was our room. We closed the window, but you can actually see outside if you opened it. But we came here. You have to lock it on the inside and the outside. Ta-da! So we stayed here for 2 nights. And the second night we did our laundry, which is on the first floor. Not the ground floor where Charlie's room is, the floor up from there. And then we just chilled. It's a pretty standard hostel. There was a little bit of a hiccup getting in, but nothing too terrible. We too also have a communal kitchen, no utensils, and a communal eating area. Saw one person using the eating area. Didn't see anyone use the kitchen, although downstairs I saw plenty of Tupperware, which means people are definitely bringing their own food, or at least bringing their own leftovers and utilizing that. So, anyways. There's the third floor with IKEA stuff up there. And here's reception. More information. Reception has been like this the whole time. There's a coffee drink machine, the lobby that says juice. That's it. I just get the plane. So we're driving from Nuremberg to Munich right now. It is currently 10 a.m. Should be there in another 45 minutes or so. Alright, so we've made it to the Marienplatz, and it's about just turned 11:35-ish, and the clock goes off at
12, so let's take a look. There are a lot of people in Lederhosen, and so I'm kind of curious where everyone's going. I don't know if it's an Oktoberfest thing, but I do know that there's plenty of places that have a lot of, what do you call it, streets that have been blocked off. Tons of horses I saw, plenty of different people walking around over there in Lederhosen, so I'm wondering if Oktoberfest has started in those areas here in Munich. For right now, this is a huge plaza.
Good morning, or in actuality, good evening. It's about 10:30 at night now, so I realized I forgot to film any A-roll in this day 4 of Germany. We begin in Nuremberg, where we kind of hastily pack our bags because we woke up a little late, had a very, very fast breakfast, and then made our way to Munich. The ride there was pretty uneventful, except for the fact that there was a ton of traffic. We thought it was because Oktoberfest began yesterday, but everyone was actually trying to get or going towards Austria, so I don't know what's going on there. But aside from that, the roads here are really, really nice, except for the occasional construction, which all of a sudden takes you from a limitless speed to all of a sudden you're down to like 80 kilometers per hour. At least they break you down nicely. It goes to 120 and then 100 and then 80. And every now and then it goes down to 60, I guess I should say. And aside from that, we got to Munich just fine. We were a bit late, so we kind of missed. We wanted to see the 11 o'clock showing of the clock show in the Marienplatz, or Marion Square, and we missed it by about 6 minutes, unfortunately, which meant that we were gonna have to wait around for another hour in order to get to the next showing. And what we decided to do was just kind of grab some snacks in the general area, just walk around and see and take some photos. And then we got to a good spot at about 11:45, 11:50, and waited until noon when the clock show started. The clock show was it was a good amount of time. I think it was like 12 to 13 minutes long in total. It has this like little warning song at the beginning and then a little warning song at the end, or a closeout song, I guess it would be at the end. And it was fairly entertaining. Like, it was definitely worth checking out, and it had some really interesting parts. Again, I filmed the whole thing, so I'll just go ahead and throw it. Actually, not in the end of this video, but I'll probably just make it its own video, and I'll just put it up on YouTube on the channel. And after that, we went to Hofbräuhaus, which that was pretty amazing. Hofbräuhaus is a beer brewery. I think it began in Munich. I'm actually pretty sure it began in Munich, and then it started spreading around Germany. And perhaps even the world. I think I've seen them outside of Germany, but aside from that, we went to the original one in here, or in Munich, because I'm actually in Oberammergau now. But that was an experience. When we first went in, my mom thought that we weren't going to be able to get a seat immediately, and was like, hey, let's just bounce and we'll come back for dinner when nobody's here. And I was looking at the place, I was like, no, there's no way that I want to leave this place now and come back later. It was too much of a madhouse. So looking around real quick, I spotted some people getting up. I'm like, hey, are those seats open? Is it like first come, first serve? And sure enough, it is first come, first serve. So we just went and sat down. This was the experience because we ordered Wiener Schnitzel, the whole large knuckle, pork knuckle, and a sausage platter. And then we also ordered a liter of their dark beer and a orange juice, I believe we got. And that was everything we got. It was the food was okay. It wasn't the greatest. Oh, we also got a pretzel. You order them from like these pretzel girls that walk around, and that's what they're doing, is selling pretzels, and you pay them. It was $3.90 because I didn't realize you had to pay them directly. I thought they just added it to your bill, but whatevs. So $3.90 for the pretzel. And one of the things that I would say about the food is that it was decent. Good. It was just probably not, in our opinion, worth the value though. The meal ended up costing us well over 50 euros, and it was good, but not the greatest meal we've had here in Germany so far. But it was definitely one of the most expensive ones that we've had. And anyhow, it also took forever, but that's another story. And while we were waiting for the food, I decided to go ahead and walk around and see what else that they had. Saw all these different areas, like where they had the locked up mugs for the usual people that go. They have their own ceramic mugs instead of the glass ones that we were using, the big steins, I guess they're called. And I also saw a place where they actually cooked the food. I went around and saw that they had this inner courtyard, which was full of tables. I mean, everything was jam-packed. There was a polka band that was playing, and as well as a regular band that was playing. The regular band was on the third floor, and the third floor was like this huge hall. Don't even know how to describe it really. Just a hall, maybe a cafeteria would probably be the best way to describe it. And just many seats, and then at the very far end there was a regular band playing. And then on the second floor it was more of like a diner-esque type, where everybody's sitting down at like a table or a booth, and that was kind of the usual type deal over there. And then there was the first floor that we were at, where it was more just like a park bench and everybody's sharing the tables. So if you had to get up to go use the restroom, everybody had to get up and move over if it was against the wall and let you out. And then when you came back, it was the vice versa. Everybody had to get up and move out to let you back in. So the experience was well worth it. There was tons of songs and chants and whatnot. And the beer was good. That was for sure. They had very interesting, I forget what they're called. The spigots for the beer was really interesting. The kegs, there you go, I guess that would be. And I also actually ran across one of their old beer barrels that they had. That was pretty neat. So overall, a great experience. Definitely like something you have to do, I feel, when you come here to Munich. But that being said, we then left, tried to walk around to a few more places. Like we went to a couple churches, and then decided that we'd go back to the Munich residence, the palace there, and treasury, and that was worth every second. We got there at about 2 o'clock, and they closed at 6, and we left at 6. So we stayed there till close, and we didn't even get to go inside the theater that we wanted to go to. That was actually part of the ticket that we purchased. It included everything. The treasury, which I'll go into in a second, the residence and the palace museum, as well as the Munich theater, or the palace theater, I should say. And the Munich museum residence, that palace is amazing. They let you take photos and videos in there, so I was able to get plenty of footage along the lines of what the halls look like, paintings on the walls, what the rooms look like, all their silverware collections, from Asia and from other parts of Europe, and what they felt was maybe Africa even, I'm trying to recall. But the best part was definitely all the kind of laid out dinnerware, silverware, I guess you could call it, china perhaps, and the way that they had all their metal items, the metallurgy stuff laid out. That was amazing. Gold and silver and rubies, all very well done and just incredible. There was a couple of key standouts. One was was this scepter that they had in the middle of all these, again, plates and stuff that was made out of probably silver or some sort of metal. The scepter was really cool. They had this whole area where, they had this great hall that's just like popped out of nowhere. And I'm not talking about like the church hall that you kind of enter in through. And if you're here, definitely take the long route and not the short route. Mom took the short route and Lynn and I took the long route. And the long route had so much more stuff to see. I mean, obviously it's the long route, but it was all worth seeing. And if you walked through, it was at a decent click. You could see everything you wanted to see, and you could get through in a decent amount of time. I'm pretty sure they're like thinking it would take you like 2 hours, which if you stopped and read everything, it would definitely take you at least that long. But if you just focus in on the key items that you're looking for, that's like a perfect area to go to. And I mean, this room full of mirrors was really crazy. They had all these different types and styles of rooms that just had like all these paintings, which were reflective and just in a way, it's just to show off that the guy had money, or the royalty had money here. And I mean, and as they did, right? So it was just interesting to kind of learn about that type of culture. And there was a lot of bling, I guess you could put it that way. Which then leads me to, we then went into the treasury, which was connected to the museum. It's just on the other side. And in the treasury, they had exactly what you think they would. All the jewels, all the treasures, and it was really amazing to go through and see like all these different styles of crowns from different eras. Yeah, they were gaudy. I mean, they're pure gold, and they had all sorts of like jewels embedded in them. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. But bad, no. Like it was neat to see. To go through and see like different types of crowns, swords with all these jewels embedded in them, you know, the sheaths made of gold or gold plated. And I found out that Nuremberg was the #1 place to go get like your gold worked on. And so that is definitely something, right? Like you learn like Salzburg and Nuremberg were these huge metallurgy places where there were just really artisans with all sorts of different types of metals and I guess animal parts, because like ivory, or like I want to say elk, but it wasn't elk. There was something that they were hunted out to extinction in the area, and it was a very fragile horn, a very brittle horn. So like if you, I call it a horn, but it's like antlers, really, and if you do it wrong, they break really easily, and they spent a lot of time working on that. I mean, admittedly, I tried to skip over like their Asian collections. Wasn't really here to see that. It's neat, you know. It was cool to learn that these royalty, these high society people, they wanted to be cultured, so they would openly search for like Asian or African or Middle Eastern type items, knives, masks, anything along those lines. So yeah, pretty good. And that was the treasury. That was 6 o'clock, because then we ran over to the theater and found out that the theater was closed. It was all locked up. There was actually a Spanish group out front taking a group photo, ironically, as we were going up. They were coming out. So that should have told us that it was closed, because they were like the last group that was in the theater. Next, we moved on to coming to Oberammergau, which we are at right now. This is going to be our launching point to go to Neuschwanstein, as well as Linderhof Palace, I believe it's called. And tomorrow morning we're going to do a little bit of walking around Oberammergau to see kind of some of the classic folktale houses that they have here. Rapunzel, I believe, was one, and Hansel and Gretel was another one. But yeah, overall, it was a great day. We got here, and again, like I said, traffic was, or just like going to Munich, traffic wasn't that bad coming out this way. There's just a few sections that were bad, and really, when it comes down to it, like getting here was quite easy. It was crazy to have to climb the mountains in the little fort that we're in. So that does say something about that. And we got here and it's a gorgeous town. It's just so pretty. Everything is very picturesque. And we got here right as the sun was going down. So I have some night shots that I could throw up here. But other than that, I didn't really get anything during the day because we were starving. So we went and found a restaurant. The one that Mom had planned for us to go to, unfortunately, they were only open for drinks at the time that we're here, about 8 o'clock at night. So we walked a little further down to a place called Hotel Wolf. And they had a Hafnerstube restaurant inside. And we just sat down, had the Hafner Schnitzel and a Oktoberfest hamburger special, which was ox loin, which was delicious. It came with the schnitzel came with like the cheese noodles and a cranberry sauce, and the burger came with all the fixins, a cabbage salad, and some fries on the side. On top of that, I ordered a Gulwein, which is a hot wine, kind of mulled wine. That was delicious. And Lynn got this spritzer of sorts. It was some juice that was mixed with sparkling water. So, and that was good too. And then obviously we got a big bottle of water because we were dying of thirst. So that was dinner. That was delicious. Probably the best meal that we've had for the past couple of days at least, maybe of the trip so far. After that, it was just going around and taking snapshots of these night shots that you see of just the buildings around here, kind of in preparation for tomorrow. But that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for bed here. I'll see you in the morning. All right, peace.
So in some parts of the palace, we were allowed to use the GoPro, in other parts we weren't, and then we went through the treasury and whatnot. Through that part we were not allowed to use the GoPro, but we could use our cameras, so that was interesting. Then we went to go through a church, which also did not allow cameras because they were in service, and now we are inside the old town hall. So they converted the inside into a restaurant, and the rest of it is still utilizable for bureaucratic reasons.
It's really not a big deal if people just figure out.
Open Holly.